Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where we are currently once again running our war propaganda. That's the term. We are once again running our war propaganda through the console because we are perpetually bugged here. But there we go. There's that done. The next one will be available on 20 November 1979. So that is fine. We do have this unassigned modern tank brigade here, and we're going to go ahead and plop that into this army. And then we also have another one, so we'll pop that over here for now. Excellent. We are currently grinding our way through the Republic of Nigeria. Now that we have supplies over here, we don't expect this to take very much longer. And we are kind of dug in over here, waiting for some supply flow. That will be here on 29 July, so another 8 days, which we should be able to hold out for. They can't attack all three of these locations, so that's good. I mean, there's a lot of retreats going on there, but that's expected. And they have low organization, so in theory, we should be able to finish up some of these naval bases. We don't need all three, but I wanted to get all three building just so that they couldn't actually stop us from building one of them. So that is fine, and we're up to 27% war support. Again, we need to hit 70% war support before we can switch up to all-adult serve, which I think is now worthwhile given the factory output malice. I'm okay with that. That is acceptable. So we are going to be finishing up these very shortly, actually. Right about now, we're going to have supply flow. Fantastic. So we've got supplies over here now, and they're not fully good. Like, that's not all the supplies we need. But we have about half of the supplies we need, which means that we're not in danger of those being wiped at this point. That's good, because we don't want additional armies wiped. We are continuing to see pretty heavy losses over here on the Asian front, and to that end, I do want to come through here and do additional nukages. That's always apparently necessary if we want to hold this front. So we're going to do this, and we should really start focusing on this front fairly soon. That said, we're very close to starting to focus on the Asian front. I want to divide their front. Over here, they have a lot concentrated up in the north, and I want to start hitting them in the south, particularly overseas. I think that that will be very, very useful to us if we're able to, like, take over Australia, New Zealand, and start doing that number over there. So we'll just push our way through here with nukes and weaken them a bit. Excellent. And how are we doing on our military factories here? We're negative on our aluminum, that's not shocking, and we're a little bit short on manpower for our destroyers. Honestly, I'm thinking about maybe switching over our heavy ships over to cruisers. I'm not sure if that's really what I want to do right now, but I'm considering it. What is the manpower requirement of a heavy ship? 6,000. Compared to a cruiser's 1,400. And a destroyer's 500 and a submarine's 200. Yes. We're going to move these over to cruisers. So we want these to be 1944 cruiser hull Mark IIs. Which are in here somewhere. Here they are. Yes, I don't care about losing the production. I want to just change them over right now. The manpower requirements are much, much lower, and I don't feel like the heavy ships are really all that helpful. I think I'd rather have these cruisers. So let's go ahead and do that. Fantastic. There's additional heavy ships over here. This is going to be a lot more cruisers. Keep that in mind. That's okay, though. We don't necessarily hate that. So we will get ourselves 1,000,000 of these. Yes, I want to lose that production. I'm okay with that. Destroyers, I'm fine with, and we're going to move these over as well. Now, I believe that I'm also able to increase the number of shipyards working on it. No, actually, I'm not. Okay. Sounds good. So we're going to do that. Any more heavy ships? Yes. We're going to do additional cruisers. And this is mostly just for manpower purposes. I might leave like one heavy ship. Actually, that's all of them. Okay. So we'll just do that for now. Interestingly, that increased our steel usage quite a bit, but I'm not super shocked about that. I do want to check in some of these locations over here. I don't really care about the oil right now. Okay. But yeah, I want to check the infrastructure in some of these locations. Quite a lot of chromium here. We don't necessarily care about that, but I guess we can increase that. Rubber over here. We're not short on rubber. What we're really interested in right now is additional steel and mostly aluminum at this point. Ooh, hello. Steel and aluminum here. Fantastic. What else do we have? Aluminum. Aluminum. Okay, sounds good. Anything else up over here? No, not presently. Okay. Out over this way. More steel and aluminum is all I'm really looking for right now. Here's some steel. We'll get that going. Wonderful. Aluminum. Aluminum. Steel. Aluminum. Steel. That'll all be very solid. Here's some aluminum down here. Excellent. So that's quite a bit more resources. Sounds great. Here's some more aluminum. Okay. So we'll call that good for right now. And of course, I didn't queue those up as high priority. They're down here. It's not hugely far down, though. We should be wrapping up a lot of these constructions fairly soon. So we'll just get started on that. And next, I want to check into our resistance map mode. This is looking halfway decent. I mean, with the exception of this area, which... I mean, they're, I think, always going to be rebelling. I think there's nothing we can really do about that. But everywhere else appears to be dropping in resistance amounts or at their resistance cap. So overall, I like it. I think this is good over here. Very, very solid. Now, I will note that as of yesterday, when this video comes out, the No Step Forward expansion will have released. I mentioned this previously, but we're not going to be upgrading to that because Paradox said that the save games will be incompatible. So we're not going to be doing that, and we're going to be sticking on this version of the game. Now, when I'm recording this, No Step Back is not out yet, but it will be like later today, so I'll have to choose the beta version, which is, you know, the previous beta version. Excellent. So we're going to finish up taking over Nigeria here. In fact, they just capitulated. That's great. And that means that these guys no longer have orders. And their orders are now going to be to come over this direction and do some naval invasions out over here. So we're going to have them naval invade from here over to here. Now, this is going to be a little bit awkward to hold to hold naval superiority over, but we'll just go ahead and do that, and that should be fine in theory. These guys over here, they do have supplies coming in, but it's not quite enough yet. But these guys don't have enough to actually push us back. We're just bouncing between these locations, which is perfectly fine. And we should, in theory... Oh, we got a reinforcement tick, of course. 62k now. That's improving. Very nice. We should start seeing more of these constructions finishing up, which will give us additional supply flow over here. But I wouldn't necessarily mind pushing these guys out of here. Yeah, just get in there. There we go. So we'll take that, and that will allow us to consolidate our border. Instead of being 3 wide, our border will now be 2 wide. Right? Yeah, these two. So that'll be great, because these two will then not be attackable for the time being, and we'll be able to construct these naval bases without any issue whatsoever. Magnificent. So you can see here, other than Madagascar and these couple of islands over here, we have pretty thoroughly banished the American Union from this region. Now, we're in a bit of a stalemate over here, and we can't really break that at this time. Maybe if we wanted to invade via, like, Alaska, that might be a possibility. But I think that that's fairly dangerous right now. I do want to come over here and refresh our enemy's memory about our air superiority in some of these regions. So let's go ahead and begin doing that refreshment. Fantastic. We definitely need troops over here. We lost air superiority over here. So we did, but it's back now, and that is fantastic. We're going to then, of course, nuke these. We're definitely losing a lot of troops over on this front, and it's a messy front for us. But I think with the nukes, we are very, very likely outpacing them in terms of manpower consumption. Actually, I don't know that that's true now that I think about it. They probably have some pretty extreme manpower flow, particularly from China, I would guess. I know that under most circumstances, Republic of China has pretty solid manpower flow. We can see here that they have 6 million recruitables right now, so they're not having any sort of a manpower crunch. I'm not super shocked by this, but I am slightly saddened. Okay. I'm just going to continue repeatedly nuking this over here. I really wish that there was, like, a nuke tool where you could just, like, click and drag to nuke all of them. That would be environmentally sound. We'll go with that. That would be environmentally sound. But as it is, we just have to go through one at a time and just click on the button. It does make me sad that there isn't a faster way to do this. Or, you know what would be an even better tool? At least for what we've got going on here. An even better tool would be you select the army group. And then inside, maybe like inside the frontline tool, when you have the frontline selected, then there's a button here to nuke every opposing position on the front line. So, like, your front line is here, right? So it would nuke here, 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 all automatically from one button press. If you have the air superiority, of course. If it's qualified to nuke, then it automatically queues up a nuke for it. I would love that. That would be an exceptionally useful button. Kaboom. Then again, I feel like the game isn't intended to be played this way necessarily, so there is that. We're just going to go through and we're going to nuke them again. It has to happen. We don't have the manpower on this front to really push them in via traditional war. So this is what we've resorted to. This is our life now. And we're just going to continue to nuke this for the time being. I believe that is almost the end of the line. Yeah, down here is where the air region changes. And did it go off? Maybe. Yeah, it went off. Okay. So how are things going over here? We've barely moved. Okay. Sounds good. We're going to head on in. And from here, we're going to be able to push our way up this way. And how much more does Free France actually have over here? Like, this is held by England. This is Free France. But most of this over here is actually English. Is this going to be basically the end of Free France? Maybe. I mean, the US controls a lot of these islands over here. So that's definitely something to think about. But at this point, we should be starting to get proper supply flow over here quite soon. Yeah, and we're actually no longer interested in building these Nigerian naval ports, or naval bases, rather. So we're going to bring that down to low priority. I mean, we're still okay with them being built, right? But there's a lot of Australian submarines over here. And that's definitely something that we need to consider. I kind of want to have these destroyers out over this way, but we're out of naval range. So instead, we're going to have them patrol, like, kind of this. Okay. How long do we have on these lads? I mean, they're not in position yet, and they still have like 60 days, so that's fine. We're going to move these guys. Odd that we had the Coast Guard selected there. We're going to move these guys up to aggressively attack. Get in there. Get them pushed back. So that is wonderful. And of course, how short are we on manpower at this point? I mean, our manpower usage, I think, has been roughly the same, although we have stepped up recruitment. But our manpower generation has roughly doubled. So that's great. How are we actually doing on that, though? Okay, we're only about 1.5 million manpower in the hole. That's not as bad as I expected it to be. Yeah, that's, I think, reasonably okay. And, let's see, it's 4 September, it's 20 November that we can bump up our war support again. So that's great. They're nuking Cuba. I don't care. Speaking of nukes, though, we should definitely... Ooh, they have definitely forgotten to do stuff over on this side. I'm a fan of this. They've forgotten to defend some territory, and so we have taken it. We're going to continue and nuking, or we're going to continue to nuke, rather, this line over here. This is currently empty. Okay. You can definitely see that these guys are low on their fighting strength. Or many of them are, anyway. They're not all low on their fighting strength. That's definitely true that they're very low on fighting strength. I'm going to go through, drop this line of nukes. And I think maybe we bump these guys up to aggressive again and just heavily support them with nukes. Like, I feel like this is how this has to go. Now, what do we have over here still? Turkey isn't ready yet, I'm sure. Okay. So we don't really have much intel on what's going on over here. These guys, however, they have been left alone. So that's interesting. So I'm going to make these guys into their own army for right now. We're going to delete this. We're going to tell these guys to front line here, but I want them to then offensive line. Something kind of like this. Since it's apparently just free. Okay. Go ahead and strike out. Let's see what we get. These guys are not assigned to an order. We're going to move them into here. There we go. Okay, and did I bump this guy up to balanced? Let's bump him to balanced. There we go. And the nukes happened, right? Yes, they did. We should continue to support this with additional nukes. That's empty currently. Okay. Because this is basically the only way that we're remaining in the game over here in Asia right now. Now, this is something that will change given time. But time is something that our Asian front doesn't really have. Our American front does, but not so much our Asian. And that's okay. So we're going to continue to do this number. Fantastic. And we do expect Madagascar to fall quite soon here. Oh yeah, they're definitely going to fall. Presently, in fact. This unit can be assigned, and we definitely moved a lot of troops around over here, so we're going to do something like that. I'm also interested in moving these guys into their own force, and they apparently mostly already are. I'm going to want to make them into a new army here, though, and we're going to unassign this. And these guys, they are simply going to frontline here. We don't know how many troops there are here, so that is not really something we're too interested in doing. These guys are not currently going. Go ahead and execute that. There we go. Excellent. We'll grab some land over here. And we are, of course, going to need to continue to run the nuking campaign over here. This is going to be very important if we're actually going to win on this front, but look at how much these nukes have changed the forces comparison. It's insane. We're now starting to stack wipe units over here, and we just need to keep the pressure on. That's what has to happen here. Keep that pressure going. The major reason I haven't done this previously is it's tedious to drop this many nukes. We're also starting to run a little bit low on nukes. We've used almost half of our stockpile, and we're going to have to consider that and maybe build additional nuclear reactors. That might not be a terrible idea, in fact. Let's go ahead and queue some up kind of low priority right now, but I am interested in queuing up some nuclear reactors somewhere. Apparently we can't. I'm actually surprised by that. We don't have any factory slots? Or we don't have any nuke slots. We do have nuke slots. But these are in our vassal states here. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually surprised by this. I expected that we would be able to. Ah, here's one. But that's in a vassal state. Not helpful. All of these are maxed out. Huh. Maxed out on those slots there, but we can queue up a nuclear reactor. Hang on, what? Yeah, it's not, that's not true. Okay. Yeah, I did expect that we would have a couple of building slots available, actually. We've done a fair amount of Conquest, and I expected there to be some empty ones. But no, that's fine. We can always do a region-wide industrial integration. So we'll go ahead and run that, and that added a building slot into this location. Okay. Sounds good, and in that location, we will build a nuclear reactor. And actually, I'm going to priority build that. Just so that we're making these nuclear reactors a little bit more quickly. We do have 160 nuclear reactors, though, so there is that. Okay. How's it going on this front over here? We still need to let these nukes go off. Kaboom. So next up, of course, we're going to do another nuke round. We need to keep this pressure super, super on. They're stack wiping at this point, and we need to continue this. This is of utmost importance to us right now, that we just decimate this front. And by decimate, I don't mean that in the traditional sense of the word. I don't want to only kill 1 in 10 enemies here. I want to kill 10 in 10 enemies here. So decimate is really not the word we're looking for. So I believe the nukes went off. Yes, they did. We're going to do another round. And yes, our number of nukes is dropping, but this is too important for us not to be hitting this. Like, look at all of these over here that are going to be stack wiped. I mean, they're not all going to be stack wiped, I don't think, but this is doing a tremendous amount of damage to the enemy's Asian front. And this is absolutely wonderful. To the point where I'm probably going to move us up to aggressively attacking. I think that that's going to be a good idea over here. Let's just continue to nuke over this way, and we're going to aggressively attack now. And let's see what this stack wiping is like. So we've got like... Oh, that was a lot. That was a lot of stack wiping. I'm going to do another round of nukes, but while I'm doing that, it is time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are going to continue stack wiping the Asian front. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings. And I will see you all next time. I was hoping to have that outro done around the same time as I finished up this nuking process. Didn't quite happen. But the process is done now. And as I said before, I will see you all next time.